What's up, everybody? Brant Phillips, Real Estate Fundamentals. So what I want to talk about today is just give you some ideas really about ways to create passive income through real estate. I recently shot a video called Why Single Family Rentals Are Not Passive. I'm not going to get into all the details of that, so you might want to check that video out. Drew back to three things: tenants, toilets, and taxes. So when you have those three things, like those three ingredients typically are not something that's ideal and going to lend itself towards being a passive investment. But there really are there are ways to invest in real estate that can be closer to a truly passive investment. But I also want you to just consider that most investments, while they may have periods and even seasons of being very passive, at times they're all going to be active in some sort, form or fashion. So just keep that in mind. But that is one of the big, I think, things that attract people to real estate is this idea, this possibility of making these investments that create mailbox money, just show up, the ACH every single month into your account with little of your time, energy, and effort after that asset is set up. So there are some ways to really create passive income. So once again, I'm not a believer that rental property is that way. Single family rental is just not. Even if you have a property manager, like I said, watch that other video I mentioned and I'll go into the details on why that's not the case. But that doesn't mean that there's not other ways to invest in real estate passively. Let's just get that out of your mind, investing in single family rentals, and let's look at some other ways. Number one is owner financing, right? Owner financing, you could say owner financing notes, creating notes. I'm not talking about as a lender, we'll talk about that in a minute, but owner financing. So one of the things that I discovered many years ago during one of my seasons of being burnt out as a rental property landlord, I talk about it in that video when I had close to 50 rental properties. I had a property manager and I was still stressed out and burned out with a lot of my rentals for various reasons. And so what happened was I was walking through one of my rentals where the tenant had just moved out and we were going to do a make ready. I was walking with my construction manager and my painters. I don't remember how the conversation came up, but I was like, man, this is just it was frustrating to me. My painter, he's like, this is a great house. I mean, it wasn't in a horrible shape. He's like, man, this is a great house. I'd love to live here. And I'm like, well, why don't you buy it? He's like, I don't know if I can get a loan and all that. And I'm like, I'll finance it for you. So I essentially struck my first owner finance deal. Had no idea how to do it, right? And that is an actually pretty simple process, right? It's the who, not how philosophy. So I just found a real estate attorney who specialized in owner finance notes. Within a matter of weeks later, I sold that property to my painter and his wife and his family. And that was, over 10 years ago. Guess what? I still have that owner finance note today. Every single month, I receive a payment via ACH. I don't collect these payments. I use a third-party servicing company that the borrower pays for. And every single month for over 10 years, I've received a payment from this person. I've never received a call for repairs, to do repairs on the home. Whenever, hurricanes blow through town and all these things, if they have to replace the roof or the house were to, God forbid, flood or all these things, they could default on the payment, right? And then it would no longer become passive. But 10 years into it, they have a ton of equity, right? They've been paying this loan. What's the likelihood of that going to happen? Not very much. So I'm not going to get too far and too deep into owner financing and why I love owner financing, but that is the first thing for you to consider of different ways to make passive income through real estate, and it's absolute through owner finance notes. So I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of these owner finance notes since then. We're almost each and every month creating new notes now because we love the owner financing model. It is much more passive. I'm not going to say it's 100% passive because it's not, but there's essentially more moving parts that you can automate, eliminate, delegate, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what you need in a passive investment vehicle, is the ability to eliminate, automate, delegate a lot of these tasks with confidence and with certainty that they're going to get done. And then just the big thing is just eliminating. With rental properties, is there's so many dead-gum repairs and moving parts and tenants coming in and out, that whether or not, if you've got that full-time property manager, you're still cutting the checks when big problems happen and arise. Like, you're still the ones that's going to deal with those to a certain extent. So I don't like them for, a passive income model. That's kind of the first option, right? Is like creating these owner finance properties and selling homes with owner financing. So you may, have some cash sitting there. Another way to invest passively is just to buy the notes, right? A lot of real estate investors do the hard work, right? To go out, find these properties, sell them with owner financing, create these notes. You can also, as an investor, just buy the notes. That's a big industry here in the real estate world, is buying notes, typically at a discount, and just receiving that mailbox money each and every month. That's another thing to consider. Multifamily. I'm not a multifamily guy. People ask me that all the time, and it's just never been my thing. Like, just a building full of tenants, like, the expenses are incredibly high, lawsuits, headaches, all that kind of stuff. Once again, even if you've got management in place, it can be an incredible passive income vehicle for you. So it's definitely something you should consider. It's just not for me. I will talk about mobile home parks. You guys I know who've been following me for a while know I love mobile home parks. And why is that? Because the model that I utilize, right, we own all the land, and our residents, I don't call them tenants, I call them residents. Our residents pay us lot rent. They are paying rent, which is the passive income piece of this. But we don't own the homes. They own all their homes. Once again, the tenants and toilets, they're homeowners, so they're taking care of their own toilets. That's a big difference from like rental property. So I love the mobile home park model. It is much more passive and scalable, for that matter, as compared to like single family rentals and things like that. So I absolutely love the mobile home park model. Now, another passive income stream that you may want to consider is partnerships. Okay, so if you are kind of in the boat that I was when I got started, meaning that you are looking to build a portfolio, you may have little to no cash while you're doing this. This isn't for you. This is more for the more of the accredited type of affluent investors watching this show. You've got some capital that you want to deploy, but you don't want to be bogged down by, all the active part of building an investment portfolio. You may want to create a partnership with a young, possibly upstart, just hardworking, trustworthy real estate entrepreneur. And that's what I did in the beginning. But I was that active part. That's what I should say. That's what other investors did with me in the beginning. And the way that we did that was I created multiple partnerships with essentially passive investors, and I did 99% of everything, pretty much 100%, except help them just decide, hey, if they wanted to approve a deal that I sent to them to add to our portfolio. So I did everything. I would go out and find the properties, negotiate deals, manage the construction with my construction manager, get the properties leased, and then manage the properties. And all that went into our LLC, our partnership. And my partners, they never saw these properties. They didn't get phone calls. They didn't have to deal with tenants, toilets, and taxes. So they basically get a monthly snapshot on what our receivables were, collections, expenses, things like that, and get a monthly update from me. So that may be something that you want to consider as a partnership. And then lastly, certainly not least, is become a private lender. So a lot of you know that I've written a book called the Private Lender Playbook that shows you all the pros and cons and everything that you need to know about being a private lender. But this is one of the most passive ways to invest in real estate. Now, there's a period of time when it's active, and that's typically when you're analyzing the deal, right, and kind of doing your due diligence, and then also at the close part when you're just creating a payoff statement and things like that. So I'm also a private lender. We're loaning on deals every single month. So I love private lending as a way to invest passively in real estate. So I hope you got a lot from this video. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and my ideas and some of my experiences in the world of creating passive income streams through real estate that are not of the single family rental variety like you hear a lot of people say. I just don't believe that it is passive, right? And that's okay. We all have our opinions. I'd love to hear your opinion. Share your comments in here. Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever you want to do. Post some comments in there. As always, guys, appreciate you watching the show. If you want to hit that like button, we absolutely love that. Hit subscribe if you haven't done that yet to receive notifications and every time that we're posting a new video. You guys take care, and we'll talk to y'all soon.